Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jada Blossom, and it is day 3 of our September 2025 release. So I'm using Jada Blossom's brand new Gnome Friends Owl Die, their new Owl Faces stamp set, the new Stay Magical stamp set, along with the outline dies. I did use them this time. The Tree Swing die, their envelope dies, Jada Blossom's stitched circle die, their rainbow dies, along with their wheelbarrow dies love mail add-ons. And I did assemble that owl on the assembly video, so check that out. So I am taking a piece of Paper Tray Ink Enchanted Evening cardstock cut at, I think it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm ink blending around the edge with some Black Soot Distress ink. So not doing anything too special, but I'm just bringing in kind of like a moody background. So just a quick inking around the edge. There we go. Now remember, everything that I used for the, everything that I always use for these cards are always listed in my blog post, and underneath this video, there's a link to that post so you can check it out. So I am using my ATG tape, and I'm going to stick this down onto my A2 size card base, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches, using Paper Tray Ink white cardstock. So I'm just going to try and line that up as good as I can. There we go. So I'm working on my Stampin' Up! Pad. All my die cutting was done with my Anna Griffin Empress machine. So I'm going to add a strip of that same blue Enchanted Evening cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. It's just like a navy, about 1/4 inch from the bottom, and I will trim off any overhang with a pair of scissors there. There we go. And now I am going to stamp a sentiment and an owl on the inside of this card. So I'm using the Yora Hoot stamp set. I didn't mention that in the beginning. And I'm going to stamp that in Distress Oxide ink in Chipped Sapphire using my MISTI. So I'm going to have this owl kind of peeking in from the side. There we go. And I just think this owl is too cute. I'm not going to bother to color it. I'm just stamping the image. And now I'm taking a little wand from the Gnome Dies Wizard add-ons, and I'm going to stick that in my owl's little wing. And then I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the Stay Magical stamp set on the inside with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp that using the MISTI as well. So hope your birthday is a real hoot. On the outside, I'm going to stamp the sentiment Owl Post. I'm doing it at an angle because I just wanted it to fit in the scrap. Paper Tray Ink white cardstock with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink again. Okay, so there is my sentiment stamped. And I'm going to cut that out with the matching Stay Magical outline dies. And I just, you don't have to have the outline dies. It just makes life easy sometimes. So I'm going to tape that in place with some of my little Easy C tape that I use. And I'm going to run that through my Anna Griffin Empress. So now I'm taking this brand new Magical Swirl stamp set, and I'm going to ink up this swirl coming from the wand using my Chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide ink. And I just think it's a super fun look. And now the inside of my card is completed, and I'm going to work on the outside of my card. So I did go ahead and I cut out this circle die from Jada Blossom, and that is American Crafts yellow cardstock. And I'm going to stick that down, kind of the upper portion of my card. There we go. And then I'm going to layer some clouds. These were cut from American Crafts gray cardstock, the smooth version, and they're from Jada Blossom's rainbow dies. And I'm going to stick those in a visual triangle there. So I'm going kind of like for a moody sky background with this owl. And there's my last little cloud. And I will weight it down with an acrylic block. So I'm going to put together a couple of these little envelopes from the Wheelbarrow Love Mail add-ons, and I just cut them all out of Paper Tray Ink white cardstock. So these ones are, like I said, from the Wheelbarrow Love Mail add-ons. And then the bigger envelope that the little owl will be holding was just, it's like a 1-layer envelope. And it was cut from Paper Ink white cardstock as well. And it's just using their envelope dies. And I am just going to layer these guys up, and I will weight them down with my acrylic block just so they dry nice and flat. And now I'm going to add, this is from the Tree Swing die, and that's some American Crafts brown cardstock. And I'm just going to layer that on. So I have to give my owl a spot to sit, right? So there it is. So I'm just going to kind of figure out where my owl is going to end up. And I will weight down that branch, and then I'm going to cut off that overhang with a pair of scissors as well. So there we go. And then I'm going to have my owl kind of perched there, and it will be holding the envelope underneath its foot. So I'm going to add it on with some Bearly Art glue. And then I will get my envelope placed. So there it is. And, you know, in one of my favorite movies, remember the owls deliver the mail. So this is kind of fun. I'm just adding an extra layer behind this one because it's just a 1-layer piece of mail. So I'm going to slip that underneath my little owl's foot. And then I've got to figure out where my other 2 envelopes are going to end up. And figuring out where my sentiments are going. And this is what I do when I'm trying to figure out where things are going to go. Sometimes I have an idea of what I'm doing, other times not so much. So I'm going to add on these 2 little envelopes in the lower left-hand corner. And kind of like they're falling. Here we are. I do weight it down with an acrylic block. And now I am going to add, excuse me, my sentiment owl post. And I'm thinking I'm going to overlap some of the mail. And I'll use, you know, some dimensionals for where it kind of sticks out past things. So I'm going to add a couple of little dimensionals along the way. And I figure that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to peel off the backing and then get it in place. And then we will have a super cute looking little background. So now I'm pulling out, these are shape sprinkles from Doodlebug. I believe they are called Heartthrob, and I'm just going to use the navy ones as seals on the back of these envelopes. So I don't pull in another color, you know. And I'm going to be using these Studio Katia glow-in-the-dark stars. I'm not sure if you can get those anymore, but there are other companies that make glow-in-the-dark stars. And I'm going to add them to my background here and there with some glossy accents. I love the look of this, and I'll show you at the end of this video what it looks like in the dark. I'll have to go into my sauna room to show you, not turn on the lights. There's no windows in there. And I just find it is a super cute look. And I just think it's adorable, really, you know? It's a really cute little look. There we go. And adding my little stars here and there. And there we go. And I love the look of this. And, you know, I love these little starry backgrounds. I just think it's a lot of fun. And especially for this adorable owl. Remember, everything that I used for this owl will be listed under the owl assembly video. And also in my blog post today. So, you know, check that out if you want to, you know, look a little closer. Remember, it's always linked underneath my, my video in the information. So adding a few more of these little stars. They're tiny, people. So that's why I'm using my embellishment wand to pick them all up. And there you have it. Oops, that one kind of, sometimes you get the odd one that's not a full star. So I had to take that one off and get a new one on because, you know, Leanne's crazy about stuff like that. So there it is.
So I'm going to show you what this looks like in a dark room. And here we go. Isn't that fun? Look at the glowing. I'm in my sauna change room. So that is all.
So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jada Blossom blog, Be Inspired by the Team, the Jada Blossom store to get your hands on these amazing products. And thanks as always for watching my videos. See you later. Bye, everybody.